Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm doing the jungle tier list for patch 13.24b, so if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and let's get into it. There were only a couple of changes towards the jungle in the B patch. Some of these were mid lane focused, but they do affect the champions within the jungle, and one of them was a jungle specific change. So let's get into it. Warwick is going to stay within the A tier. He received a buff towards his W, which increased its attack speed later on into the game by 10%. It also now has 20 seconds shaved off of the CD. Alongside that, the Q now does more damage to monsters. Is this enough to push Warwick out the A tier? No. The champion is still very much gatekept by the fact that he doesn't have a great mythic at the moment, which is why you tend to see people go things like Bork and Titanic first, picking up like an early Tiamat, and then, going Bork, then picking up the Titanic as a second option. His mythics tend to be pretty awkward. The likes of Divine Syndra has been nerfed quite heavily over the course of the last 2 seasons. Jack Show tends to only really be viable if you have already picked up a decent amount of resist before picking up the item. So overall, it's left him in this pretty bad spot where he just doesn't have a cool mythic identity. For this kind of an issue, you do just stunt your mythic. That is the play for most Warwick games, where you are just going Bork, Titanic, and then even picking up things like Spirits, Sterix, and then going into mythic. I know some people do like the Divine Syndra and Jack Show third. They are viable options there. Second item though can kind of hurt, as they aren't big enough spikes to really power you through the game, whereas the likes of Titanic Hydra, really good as a second option, helps you clear faster, does a decent amount of damage with the on-hit appliers on both your Q and your ultimate, so that tends to be the route which is best for him. Trinity Force tends to struggle on Warwick as he has very low base AD, as his passive gives him on-hit, which then leads to relatively low base AD, as his autos are already hard hitting because of the on-hit modifier. So overall, Warwick stays within the A tier. Probably will get a lot better with next season with the removal of mythics, but for the moment, stays in A tier. Neferi got buffed. She lost 1 second on E at all ranks, which is a nice change for mid lane Neferi, but for jungle Neferi, she was already in such a bad spot that it really doesn't do that much. Like, it's a nice clear speed increase, as you will have it up more often, but when her clear is already as bad as it is, having like 1 second off ECD just doesn't do enough to put her in a viable spot. I'd recommend sticking to mid or top Neferi. Jungle Neferi just isn't very good. Silas is going to move down to the C tier. So Silas took a big chunk towards his W, which is his first max within the jungle. He lost 10% AP ratio on the damage alongside 5 flat damage on it. And then the healing lost 5% AP ratio. So overall, this was a very big nerf towards W max Silas within the jungle. You tend to opt into things like the Night Harvester and the Shadow Flame, which are very high AP items. Having a nerf like this massively lower his clear speed when his Q does reduce damage to monsters, and you are very much looking to use your W off CD to deal damage. The heal going down is going to hurt him a bit as well, as he's going to be less healthy within fights and skirmishes, and also the damage is going to affect that as well. So overall, Silas definitely going to struggle a lot more within the jungle. He's still a fine pick into comps with like Malphite and good ultimates for him to steal, but I'd very much just recommend picking him in the mid lane and top lane, where he's still a perfectly viable pick at the moment. Other champs which I want to talk about, so I'm going to move Bel'Veth and Kha'Zix back up to the S tier. Someone in a recent comment section was talking about how these champs were still in A tier, and I agree, they shouldn't be. I moved them down when the AD ratio got removed off the pet, and they didn't suddenly jump back up when it got re-added, but as in Kha'Zix's case, Youmuu's is a really strong item on him, and is really like gaining traction as a good option with Duskblade getting nerfed, so I definitely recommend going that route instead of Duskblade, which does push him back up into the S tier as a strong assassin pick. Alongside that, Bel'Veth received direct buffs because she got changed on the same patch as the AD ratio getting removed off the pet. With the re-addition of that and 4 seconds shaved off her E, she does deserve to go back into the S tier. She is still, she is nowhere near, maybe not nowhere near, but she's not as strong as she used to be with the Stridebreaker variation, but she is still a strong pick, because now you tend to lead with Kraken Slayer and then pick up the Stridebreaker. That tends to be the route you now go. But yeah, definitely Fun Traction again, a good pick. Not as strong as she used to be, but still definitely a good option. Past that is kind of where the jungle meta is going to stay. I don't think there is any huge abuse cases of like certain items within the jungle at the moment. I know things within low elo, such as like the brand, can be quite oppressive. Amumu not doing as well at the moment, but I'm not going to move him down to the B tier, as I don't think he is that bad of a champion. But then a lot of the B tier are still viable options at the moment. Within the S plus tier, it's kind of held by the 3 champs, which have been decently strong for a while now. Rammus came up when Briar got nerfed down. Nocturne has been really good as an option for a while with the Stridebreaker Shochin build, and Ivan has been really good even after the nerfs as a strong supportive pick. Works really well in a lot of team comps as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.